Mythical giants versus real humans. Giants have fascinated humans for millennia, from the titanic figures of mythology to the tallest humans in recorded history. These towering beings capture our imagination. But just how tall could humans actually grow, and why do so many cultures imagine giants far beyond our physical limits? Today, we explore the science, history, and myths behind giants. Across civilizations, giants appear as symbols of power, chaos, or divine challenge. In Greek mythology, the Gigantes were born of Gaia, the earth, and fought the Olympian gods in a war that shook the heavens. They represented forces humans could not control: earthquakes, storms, and the raw power of nature. In Norse myths, the Jotun were enormous beings, sometimes hundreds of feet tall, representing the untamed wilderness beyond human settlements. The gods themselves were not immune to their strength, showing how myths used size to communicate danger. The Bible also features giants, such as Goliath, described as nearly 10 feet tall. Goliath was not only a physical threat, but also a symbol of overwhelming odds, emphasizing the courage of David in defeating him. Interestingly, giant myths often exaggerate height to the point that humans couldn't physically survive at that scale, highlighting the symbolic rather than literal nature of these stories. So what about real humans? The tallest recorded person in history was Robert Wadlow, who reached an incredible 8 feet 11 inches. Wadlow's extreme height was caused by a pituitary gland disorder, which produced excessive growth hormone. Unfortunately, his condition also caused health complications and ultimately contributed to his early death. Prehistoric humans were generally much shorter. Early Homo sapiens averaged around 5'5" to 5'7" for men and 5'2" to 5'4" for women. Neanderthals, while not taller, were more robust and muscular, built to survive the Ice Age, with heavy bones and strong physiques adapted to harsh climates. Even today, humans taller than 7 feet are extremely rare, and most cases involve medical conditions such as giantism or acromegaly. So while myths portray humans hundreds of feet tall, biology keeps us firmly within limits. Human size is constrained by biology. Bones can only support so much weight. Beyond a certain point, fractures and deformities become inevitable. The heart must pump blood efficiently. At extreme heights, blood circulation becomes a serious challenge. Muscles and tendons also have limits. Beyond roughly 9 to 10 feet, a human body would collapse under its own weight. Additionally, metabolism imposes strict limits. A person over 9 feet tall would require thousands of extra calories per day, making survival extremely difficult without modern nutrition. Evolution favors a balance between size, mobility, and energy efficiency. Extreme height comes with severe trade-offs. Interestingly, giantism is more common in history's upper classes because access to nutrition allowed some people to grow taller than average. But even with abundant food, biology sets hard limits on height. So what would happen if humans actually grew to the sizes described in myths? Imagine a human standing 30, 50, or even 100 feet tall. At that scale, the human body would no longer function the way we understand it today. This is where science introduces a critical concept called the square-cube law. As a body grows taller, its volume and weight increase much faster than its strength. In simple terms, doubling height does not double strength, it increases weight many times over. This is why elephants need thick, pillar-like legs, and why insects, despite being small, can lift many times their own weight body. If a human were scaled up to the size of a mythical giant, their bones would need to be thicker than tree trunks just to prevent collapsing. The legs alone would struggle to support the body's weight, and walking would place extreme stress on the knees, ankles, and hips. Even standing still could cause bones to fracture. The heart presents an even bigger problem. A giant human would need a heart the size of a small vehicle to pump blood all the way to the brain. Blood pressure would need to be dangerously high, making survival nearly impossible. Without constant medical support, a giant of this size would lose consciousness within moments. Breathing would also be a challenge. Lungs do not scale efficiently at extreme sizes. Oxygen would struggle to reach deep tissues fast enough, causing fatigue and organ failure. Even basic movement would become exhausting. Food requirements would be enormous. A human 10 feet tall already needs far more calories than average. A giant 50 feet tall would require tens of thousands of calories each single day. In ancient times, this level of energy intake would have been impossible to sustain. This explains why giants remain firmly in the realm of mythology. Nature simply does not allow human bodies to scale upward without severe consequences. The laws of physics and biology place hard limits on size, no matter how powerful the imagination. Interestingly, the largest land animals that ever lived, such as dinosaurs, survived only because their bodies evolved very differently from humans. They had massive skeletal structures, horizontal body posture, and unique respiratory systems. Humans, built for endurance walking and upright posture, are especially limited when it comes to extreme size. In other words, giants could never exist as oversized humans. To survive at that scale, they would need to be something entirely different. Ancient texts, giants, and misunderstood evidence. Throughout history, many people believed giants were real because ancient texts described them as real beings, not myths. These accounts appear in religious writings, epic poems, and early historical records, often written long before modern science existed. In the Bible, references are made to groups such as the Nephilim, described as mighty beings or warriors of great size. Similar figures appear in ancient Mesopotamian texts, where kings were described as towering heroes with exaggerated strength and stature. These descriptions were not meant to be measured with modern standards, but to intensify power, authority, and divine favor. Ancient writers often used exaggeration as a storytelling tool. Height, strength, and lifespan were symbolic rather than literal. A king described as a giant among men did not necessarily stand 10 feet tall, but was meant to be seen as unmatched in influence or fear. Another reason giant legends persisted comes from the discovery of massive bones. Before modern paleontology, ancient people had no understanding of dinosaurs, mammoths, or prehistoric megafauna. When enormous fossilized bones were uncovered, the only explanation available was that they belonged to giant humans. In several ancient cultures, large skulls and thigh bones were displayed in temples and public spaces as proof of ancient giants. Today, scientists can clearly identify these remains as belonging to extinct animals, but in the past, the mystery fueled belief rather than skepticism. There have also been historical hoaxes. In the 19th and 20th centuries, newspapers published stories of giant human skeletons being discovered in caves or burial mounds. These stories spread quickly, but none were ever verified. Many were exaggerations, misidentifications, or outright fabrications created to attract attention. Despite these claims, no credible scientific evidence has ever confirmed the existence of human giants beyond extreme medical cases. Thousands of human skeletons from ancient civilizations have been studied, and all fall within the known biological range of human size. This overwhelming evidence shows that giants did not disappear, were not hidden, and were not erased from history. They never existed as described. What survived, instead, were stories, passed down, embellished, and transformed across generations. Why giants fascinate us today? Even today, giants captivate us in movies, comics, and video games. They symbolize challenges bigger than life itself, the thrill of adventure, and the ultimate test of courage. From myth to science, giants remind us of human curiosity, imagination, and the drive to explore limits, both real and imagined. From ancient myths to real-life human extremes, giants inspire awe, curiosity, and wonder. If you enjoyed this journey through history, science, and imagination, subscribe for more adventures into the past, the cosmos, and the incredible creatures of our world. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe Noverse.